Hi,
Hello.
how are you? Oops,
So far, so good. How about you?
fine. Thank you. That's better. My name is Maud. Okay, and I will be your teacher for today. So, how are you doing? Are you good? Are you well? How was your weekend?
Quite enjoyable.
Really okay. So, what did you do?
I actually visited my grandma the last and my family also, and I
Mhm.
really enjoy the time with them.
That's lovely. Are you working this week? Do you study? Just tell me a little about
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm, yeah, I'm so happy as you can see, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm a full-time student. This year is
Wow.
I'm also a major in nursing in medical school.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. Well, what are your plans for the week? Any plans for the week except for studying? Anything that you're looking forward to?
I know it's so boring. Perhaps watching Netflix at home.
Just Netflix. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Tell me what you're watching. I'm also guilty of watching Netflix. I
I
was
know a
binge
lot of
watching.
I know there's a lot of um YouTube video is I mean
Mm,
there's a lot of YouTube video is talking about sex life,
what are they
especially the
talking about? Oh yeah,
sex
Six
life,
Life. I've
especially
s-
that clip. Like
have you watched it?
yeah, I watched it and yeah,
How was it?
quite amazing.
Really? I heard someone was in a relationship with someone and it caused drama. I haven't watched it yet.
Really. Then what
No,
you watch in on
on
Netflix?
Netflix. Um, so yesterday I watched some movie, but that was just so I could fall asleep. But I've been watching Jane the Virgin.
Yeah.
Jane the Virgin, and it's about this young lady who's very virtuous. So she's very virtuous, and oh, she wants to stay a virgin until she gets married.
Yeah.
But then she goes to the gynecologist, and she accidentally gets inseminated. So she gets pregnant by mistake as a virgin. So I've been watching that, and it's interesting. It's interesting because there's there's a there's a
A big
commentator.
issue.
Sorry?
I mean, it's like
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
issue.
yeah, it's kind of an issue for her because they told her that she was pregnant, and then she said, "But no, I'm a virgin." Turns out the doctor made a mistake. So I've been binge watching that, but everybody's talking about Six Life. Everyone is
Yeah,
talking about Six.
I know. I mean, watch a little bit like
What did you
uh
enjoy about? You finished watching it.
no, I didn't. I watched a little bit, but I don't think it is as good as people thought. Like I don't know. I prefer Friends or something like I don't I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah,
What were you watching before? What were you watching before it?
The Brave Ant.
The Brave
Do you know a
and
book called The Green and Green Gable?
uh-huh. What was that
Yeah.
about?
It's about um it is about a girl who called Anne and sh- she lived in um she lived in Green Gable and it's about
Uh-huh.
her story and people doesn't people doesn't like her at the beginning because of she is
Mm.
an orphan, but
Oh.
she proves a
Uh-huh.
lot of things that how like the reason why she can stay in this. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, it sounds very interesting. But in general, what's your favorite genre? Because we moved from Six Life. I'm not sure what genre that is. Is it romance or like romance with a bit of a thriller? I'm not sure what genre it is. What do you think?
You mean about it? Or
Yeah, no, I mean just about the types of series or movies that you like watching. What's your favorite genre? Do you have one?
maybe comedy and horror.
And horror. Horror.
Like
No,
Conjuring, Conjuring. I
like The
don't like
Conjuring.
Annabelle. Yeah, I don't like Annabelle. It's
Is
like,
Annabelle the one with a doll that
yeah, but
moves?
I don't really like her. It's like a it's like I don't know, it's a doll who is
Mm-hmm.
bullying a girl who has um phys- physical problem. Like she always attacked the youngest, the weakest, and I just feel like she is like bullying a person, and I just
Mm,
there's no like that. I mean, if you are a very powerful ghost or
mm-hmm.
spirit, why you just don't attack people who have very yeah, who is so very
Okay.
strong or brave or something else like that.
Mm,
Why you just attack the weakest person?
okay,
It's
okay, good point.
yeah.
And The Conjuring, so I am, how do I put this? I am a wuss. So I do not watch horror movies. I'm petrified of them. Okay, I'll be honest, I am petrified. I can't watch it. If I watch it, I don't sleep. I start looking around, and then I
Yeah.
start hearing, and then I start hearing things in my mind. So I started imagining, okay, if a ghost came in today, what would I do? Maybe I would fight. So I start imagining things. So I can't watch any horror movies. So
So do you
what
like
did you
Ghost House when
do I
you
like?
go to the fun fair or anything?
Please just repeat that.
Um, I mean, do you like to go Ghost House when you get
Ghost
uh
houses.
fun fair?
So ghost houses in my country aren't very popular, funny enough.
Really? Why?
No, I'm not sure. I think because we're very superstitious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because we're very superstitious. Okay, superstitious. So I think it's because we're very superstitious, and a lot of things have happened in my life that I could not explain.
Really?
Yeah,
Really? Like what?
I swear.
I want to
Like
listen more
what?
of this story.
Okay, so when I was young, so you see, when I tell these stories, you see, I that's why I can't watch horror movies, because at the back of my mind, I'm saying this is not real, but things in my life have happened that never made sense. So,
Yeah.
for example, when I was younger, I think it was about four, or not even four, man, like six, seven, because I could remember. We were taking a bath with my cousin, and where we used to live, before they built houses there, it was actually a farm, so farmland. And it was said that a bunch of people had died there. So sometimes before there was new development, you could hear horses in the
Oh,
street. And this is a urban area, buildings, houses, there are no horses. So we were taking a bath. My grandmother always told us never take a bath before midnight. So we were taking a bath, and then all of a sudden we started hearing a sound like someone was throwing something against the window. Okay, and of course I'm young. I thought, oh, my grandmother, she's at it again. She's playing tricks on us because she wants to discipline us. She's trying to do something. So I shouted out my grandmother's name. She kept quiet. I thought, okay, it must be my uncle, right? It must be my uncle. I shouted out my uncle's name. It was not my uncle. We got out of the bathtub. It was me and my cousin. We were young, foolish. We ran to our bed. We ran to our grandmother, and my grandmother was asleep. Everyone was asleep. But when we woke up, we found sea salt. I'm not sure if you've seen sea salt before. Sea salt. Let me just show you what it looks like. There, we found sea salt all over the house. So something was throwing sea salt all over the house. Everyone in the house was there. So who did it? It wasn't me. So who did it? So small things like that have happened and I can't explain them.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit superstitious yet afraid of watching any horror movies because in my mind, how can I explain it? Who did it? It wasn't me. And in our area, so in general, the houses are barricaded. So we have a wall or a gate so no one can get in
Yeah.
and they respect privacy. So who did it? It wasn't me, Sophie. So it's, yeah. So it makes me very superstitious. I'm a bit afraid of certain things that go bump in the dark. So I wouldn't survive watching The Conjuring. No. Are you not afraid? Are you not superstitious? Do you not believe in any of these things?
I don't know. I just feel like if there were a human before, so it is like a living human for me because
Mm.
I actually had some some story that I can tell
Okay. Do you
when
want to tell
I
me?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. We still have time. Mm-hmm.
Like last semester I was preparing my midterm exam. So I was
Mm-hmm.
studying in the library until very late night.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm in medical school, so there has
Mm-hmm.
a anatomy lab. There has a
Mm-hmm.
dead body inside it. And it is quite weird that when I was on the way to home, the
Mm-hmm.
elevator, I didn't push the button, but the elevator just raised to the floor. I
Wow.
mean, I mean the elevator is on the first floor, but I didn't push the button and it raised to the fourth floor, and
The
basically
fourth floor.
no one will be the no one will be on the floor above the fourth
Mm.
floor because it is really late, like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. Everyone is in the dorm or outside. Just
Sure.
no one will be above the fourth floor. So it is really weird. And suddenly the elevator's door just suddenly opened in the
Oh my
darkness.
goodness. So what did you
And
do?
I didn't I just take the next elevator and I'm just standing there and watch it and
Oh my gosh.
maybe I just say, hey, hello, and watch it close. I don't know because I went to the anatomy lab last
Mm-hmm.
semester, so yes, I saw that 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 people and some even children. Yeah.
Sure.
And I know this is quite amazing, but the sense of family is intolerable. Like
Wow.
can not everyone likes that sense. But I think it is
Wow.
interesting that observe the organ or thing
Mm.
inside.
Mm.
But yeah,
So Okay, that's very interesting for me. I
But
think
yeah,
I would.
I just feel like they were real and they were living in this world. Like
Mm,
we also have the story of the person. Like every dead body have their own story, and we
mm,
just yeah, everyone just outside the anatomy lab, we can see their story. Yeah,
mm. Okay.
and
So what about you? I know that you are obviously a medical student. Do you believe in the supernatural?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
okay. 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 So what would you do if you interacted with someone who said that they were from the afterlife?
I know. I would say, what do you feel living? What do you feel when you experience the afterlife? Like, what's your
That's actually a very
story?
good
And
question.
yeah, yeah. And I mean,
Sure.
maybe it can be true or it can be fake, but it is.
Mm,
I don't know. It is. I don't know if it is difficult to make a story and let people believe that, but maybe it can
mm.
be interesting. Just listen it. Maybe you just listen it and
Maybe you can learn something.
yeah,
There's actually an entire, I'm not sure if you've watched the series. I used to watch it when I was younger. Paranormal Activities. There was actually a whole documentary, Paranormal Activities. So what they do is they go to houses that are haunted. Okay, they go to houses that are haunted and they try to communicate with ghosts. And what they
yeah,
do is they use a heat monitor. I
yeah,
can't remember what the name is. An infrared heat monitor that can actually detect if something is moving, but your eyes can't see it. And they have all these episodes where they show ghosts communicating and talking. So they ask the ghost, could you please show us that you were here? And something will break or a door will open. So it's very interesting. Scary for me. But very interesting. I liked your question though. So how is the afterlife? It's very interesting. Hmm. Okay, let's get to our lesson. It's actually a bit interesting. Still a part of the Olympics. Let me
Olympic.
just more about the Olympics. Yeah, more about the Olympics, but we have a new topic today. So, how the Tokyo Olympics became the most expensive Olympics. Okay, the video is a bit long. If you want me to just slow it down, please just tell me.
Okay.
Okay, oh, I need to share my screen again. Um, there, share sound. Okay, let's look at the video.
Tokyo's 2020 Olympics are already the most expensive summer games ever, and that's before the games have even taken place. The Japanese public is largely against them in the
Oh,
midst of a pandemic.
sorry. Okay, I just need to switch off. Sorry, I just need to switch off my live transcribe. Okay, disable. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. Sorry about that. There, now you can see all the subtitles.
Tokyo's 2020
Perfect.
Olympics are already the most expensive summer games ever, and that's before the games have even taken place. The Japanese public is largely against them in the midst of a pandemic, and there's no guarantee they will happen at all. Now, the city of Tokyo, the International Olympic Committee, and athletes themselves are bleeding cash.
It all adds up, so money is stretched a little thin right now.
But the problems run deeper than the delay. So what makes the Tokyo Olympics so expensive? When Tokyo won the bid for the Olympics in 2013, the cost estimate was $7.3 billion. Today, expert estimates run to $26 billion. The problem starts with the venues, 43 of them to be exact. The National Stadium is meant to be the site of the opening and closing ceremonies, as well as track and field events and soccer. It was a financial disaster before a single brick was laid. Japan hired star architect Zaha Hadid for the design, but cost estimates quickly ran well over budget, and when the price hit $2 billion, the plan was scrapped. Version 2 didn't fare much better. Japanese architect Kengo Kuma designed the 68,000-seat stadium with a mix of steel and wood from every single one of Japan's 47 prefectures. The cost? $1.4 billion. The design of the gymnastics center basically didn't change, but the cost more than doubled by the time it was completed in 2019.
So yen's depreciation means import costs are much higher. So lots of construction materials are all imported from other countries, so that also gave rise to the additional cost in the construction sectors.
With 8 new venues and 10 temporary ones, costs added up quickly. There's a plaza for badminton and pentathlon, an aquatic center for swimming and diving, the volleyball arena, and of course, the canoe and kayak center. And that's just to name a few.
This is another interesting thing about the Olympics. It's the only project type we have found where we can't even find one project that was done on budget. Each and every one of them, for which data exists, have run over budget.
While cost overruns at the Olympics are something of a biennial tradition, a number of factors made Japan's expenditures worse.
The construction cost is rising, partly because of this rising cost, as a result of a serious labor shortage in construction sectors.
And that's part of why the construction of 21 buildings in the Olympic Village has a price tag of nearly $2 billion. That cost is supposed to be offset by selling apartments to the general public after the Olympic Games. Today, they are sitting empty.
まだこれはこういう問題が延期となったばかりでありますので、そこまで検討が進んでいませんと。
The year-long postponement increased operational costs by another $1.6 billion. Tokyo covered maintenance for all venues, ramped up security, and paid to rent the Olympic Village for a year instead of a month.
Lots of stadium, some sports players' housing, those are just left empty without being utilized. So there's an opportunity cost there.
This included canceling many of the warm-up events that would have brought in revenue. The controversy over holding the games grew amidst rumors that Japan decided to cancel the games, though the rumors were quickly denied by the government and the IOC.
To be honest, the public feel probably it's better the game will be cancelled or at least postponed. However, the companies have a different view. The corporate sector, they definitely want to hold a game this year.
The International Olympic Committee doesn't invest in infrastructure, but maintains requirements on venue sizes.
The IOC has an interest in getting the best show, with the most viewers, and they're actually not too concerned about cost.
The Olympics draws millions of TV viewers around the world. Nearly 3/4 of the IOC's revenue comes from selling these rights to broadcasters like NBC. The opening and closing ceremonies attract the biggest audience, featuring hundreds of performers, laser light shows, fireworks, and the lighting of the Olympic cauldron. Those events in Tokyo have an expected cost of $118 million. For all the burden of hosting the games, Tokyo will see almost no share in the valuable broadcast rights. And the host city could be out even more with the loss of ticket sales, which are expected to reach more than $850 million. If the games do go forward, $900 million in added COVID precautions will bring the total cost of the delay to $2.8 billion.
The Tokyo Olympic organizer have to prepare about 300 doctors every day, additionally 400 nurses. That is quite difficult.
While all these numbers seem like a burden for a host city to endure, there's also the cost to the individual athlete. Alan Bauer is a gymnast on the US national team, trying to make his first Olympics.
We set up a gym in my garage, worked out there. We just tried to do everything that we could, but my world kind of got flipped upside down when COVID hit.
A good pommel horse can cost $5,000. The protective mats around it, $1,500 each. Ceiling mounted rings, $600. The garage, part of his $1,100 a month in rent. Luckily, he was spared a lot of those costs.
We had a couple of gyms send us some of the equipment. We had a bunch of support from all around the state of Oklahoma and Texas.
It's hard to imagine that all of this might be for nothing. There's still a real chance the Olympics could get canceled outright. Some event organizers already learned their lesson. The Wimbledon tennis tournament took out insurance against virus-related pandemics in 2002, when SARS threatened to become a global pandemic. Wimbledon actually netted about $140 million this year when it had to cancel because of COVID. In Japan, insurance losses of a complete cancellation are estimated at $2 to $3 billion, not even half of Tokyo's original bid to host the games. The Tokyo Organizing Committee now says its budget is $15.4 billion, twice the original estimate. But experts and even Japan's auditor disagree. It's a boondoggle that may change the Olympics forever. Whether the party in Tokyo happens remains to be seen, but the bill is coming due.
Okay. Weston, welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Okay, welcome. Thanks for joining me and Sophie. You actually joined just in time for the video. So first thought that comes to your mind, what do you guys think? Sophie, what do you think?
The cost of Olympic is huge amount.
Yeah.
And also you can get some profits because you may hold activity Olympic. I mean such great activity like Olympic may not happen. May not after that. So yeah, it's a
Yeah, it's also a bit of a problem. Okay. Weston, what do you think?
It really costs so much, and
Yeah.
I hope there will be a way to decrease the cost, like to have a cheaper material or the other place to get it not that expensive.
Okay, but I don't know if you guys noticed the figure, but it's $26 billion.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just take a moment to imagine what we could do with all that money. Okay, it's very expensive. It's very expensive. I actually want us to look at some of the architecture. If you remember from the beginning, they said that this is the lady Zaha Hadid. Okay, and these are some of her designs. Okay, but of course she ended up not actually designing. She's an architect because she went a bit overhead with the budget. So that did not happen. But what do you guys think of some of her designs?
very more.
What do you guys think?
Oh,
Very, please repeat.
new style. New style.
Weston says new style. Sophie, what do you think?
Very more.
Yeah, it's very modern. Look at this one. It's actually crazy. Okay, it looks like a beehive thing that's going on. So she does I think the things of her designs are very futuristic. Okay, futuristic. Okay, I think her designs are very futuristic. Maybe too expensive. So there was probably an affordability issue, but her designs are amazing. They're amazing. And this is actually the man who ended up designing the main stadium in Tokyo. Let's just look at some of his designs and you guys can just tell me what you think. Okay, so Kengo Kuma, these are some of his buildings. Okay, let's just try to contrast between Zaha and Kengo's buildings. What do you guys think? Who would you hire? Who would you hire and why? Okay, good question. Who would you hire? So let's say you're part of the committee in your country. Okay, you're part of the committee in your country and you have the honor of choosing an architect to design this grand stadium that everybody's going to look at. Who would you hire and why? Okay, just ask me if you want me to go back to Zaha's images. Welcome, Chloe. How are you? Okay, so just to recap, Chloe, we are, that's perfect. So we are the committee of the Olympics in our country, and we're going to select an architect that we're going to hire, okay, to design a stadium. This is the second designer, Kengo Kuma. Okay, we're going to just quickly look at these images and then we're going to compare them to Zaha. Okay, I see a lot of woodwork with him. I see a lot of woodwork, some interesting pieces. Okay, this looks interesting. Oh, wow. Okay. Very interesting. And futuristic once again. Okay, and this is a museum. Okay, and here is the second designer. Okay, just tell me what you guys think. Personally, I'm leaning towards Zaha. I'm enjoying the little swirls that she does. I don't know why. But I'm enjoying the swirls that she does. Oh, look at this one. Okay, so I'm leaning towards Zaha. Sophie, who would you choose?
I prefer Zaha.
Zaha?
Yeah, I
Okay.
like this time. Very simple.
Okay, you like it designs. Weston, who would you choose? Zaha or Kengo?
King,
This is
Kingo.
Kengo. Okay, why Kengo?
The wood, it looks special.
Okay. Okay, so you like the woodwork. Okay, and Chloe, what about you? Okay, would you
I like
Kengo design or Zaha?
I like Kango
Kengo.
because I like wood
Mhm.
building.
Okay, not fair. But you see, now we have an interesting topic because what happens after the Olympics? What do you guys think happens after the Olympics? Because now we have all these big structures. Okay, I actually found out I actually found out that a prerequisite for every country bidding to host the Olympics, they have to prerequisite. Sorry, let me just write this down. Prerequisite. So what they have to do is they actually have to build a village all the time. They don't have a choice. So this is the Tokyo village. Okay, we're seeing one in South Korea, but these are all the different villages that countries have built. This one's the Tokyo one. As you can see, it looks just a bunch of apartments and a small area where all the countries or all the athletes are going to stay. Okay, what do you guys think of the Olympic Village? Did you like it? Were you interested in it or no? We don't care. What do you think, Chloe?
I think for this time the Olympic in Tokyo. I
Mhm.
think they need to plan plan completely,
Mm.
like because of the pandemic, and
Mhm.
I know they make like I think like a safe bubble inside the
Mhm.
village, and there
Oh.
are many food and restaurants inside
Mhm.
the village.
Mhm. Okay, that's a good
So
point.
they don't uh, the athletes, they don't need to go outside to buy
Mm.
food, and it avoid to avoid um getting
Mhm.
uh, uh getting the virus, I think.
Mm. Mm. Okay, so avoid getting infected by mistake, by wandering off. It's a good point. But I don't know, if you were an athlete, wouldn't you want to explore the city?
I won't.
Or would you want to stay in your room? I would leave. Even if
think
they
I
told
want
me to
to
stay.
go visit.
Yeah, I think I would also leave. What about you, Sophie? Would you stay in your room in this new country? Imagine a country you've always wanted to go to, and they tell you, Sophie, you are an athlete, you must stay in your room. Would you stay?
It is a hard choice.
But you
because
need to
I'm
choose.
because
Mhm.
I'm a free person, so I may break the rule. And yeah, I may want
Okay.
to the city if yeah.
Okay, you see, Sophie would wander off. Western, what if I told you that you couldn't, you were this athlete? I remember you play volleyball. Would you stay in your bubble, or would you wander off and go explore the city?
After
Maybe
after
go
this,
explore the city.
Maybe you go explore the city. So it's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult. Obviously now that the Olympics are over, and now this brings us to another question. We have all of this lying around. There's no one there. What do you guys think should happen to the village?
More people.
Nothing.
I
Weston,
think
what do you
that
think should happen to the village?
I think this village there should be more people.
Okay, okay. Sophie, what do you think?
maybe people enjoy the sunshine there, and
Mm.
maybe just taking recording a TikTok, recording a
Okay,
live and Olympic village.
okay. I like that. I like that. Chloe, what do you think should happen to the Olympic Village?
I mean, after Olympic Games.
Yes, so after everything is done, what's going to happen? Because right now the athletes are staying there, but
I
they're all going to go back to their country. So what
Yes,
should happen?
I think government can rent the rooms for some like students or some
Mm.
lower income person to
Mm.
rent the house by the like lower price.
For a lower price, okay. Um, when you mention it, I've actually never seen how they look inside. Let me just see if I can see. Olympic Village inside. Okay, let's see if we can find. Oh, okay, so this is what they look like. Um,
And the bed is made by paper box,
what's the bed made of?
made by paper box
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
because they
Wow.
said after Olympic Games they
Mhm.
can recycle it and it's more eco-friendly.
Okay, that's a good point. But it looks like bachelor rooms. Okay, it doesn't look too big. So probably with social housing, I don't think a family would live there. Yeah.
I think just for single people, single person.
Or young students, yes,
Yes,
maybe.
student in university.
Esther, if you went to university, would you like to live here? Your mic is muted, Weston.
Oh, sorry. I
No
will live
problem.
here if I have enough money that I think not too expensive.
Okay, if it's not too expensive. Sophie, would you consider living here?
Yeah, I would consider living here if the price is.
Okay, so if the price was good, and what's a good price? What's a good price for a place like this? What do you guys think? I don't know how much it would be. What's a good price?
Maybe, yeah. You know,
Maybe
100 US dollar per
100 US
month.
dollars for a month. Okay, 100 US dollars for a month. Chloe, what do you think? 100 US dollars, more, less?
I think 150 to 200.
150 to 200.
Because
Okay.
I think that that there must be the traffic, the well traffic place, and there are many restaurants inside the village. It's very convenient.
Okay. Okay, bless you, Weston. Are you fine?
I think I'm fine. Just get a cold.
The cold. That was me last week. My nose was congested.
Turn on air conditioner for too long.
Okay, sorry about that. But so what do you think of the price, Weston? $150, $200, $100? What's a good price? What's a good price for you?
Good price.
$200.
Yeah, I think it's okay because I don't know different countries renting value in Hong Kong is really expensive.
It's really expensive. Okay. I actually want to show you guys what has happened to some of the facilities that were built for the previous Olympics. Okay, oh sorry, not this one there. Let me just go back up. Okay, so here are some of, well, the infrastructure after years. It's very difficult to take care of. And most countries, the reason why they have to build such big capacities is because in general, no country would use that sort of stadium. Okay, they wouldn't use it. And this is what some of them look like. Unfortunately, this is Rio 2016. This was the Olympic pool. Okay, as you guys can see, that does not look like a place anyone would want to be. There's water, it looks dirty, it's deplorable conditions. It's really not nice. Okay, here are some of the images. I actually want to show you the apartment there. Okay, this is what the Turin Village from 2006 looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think of that picture? Did it work out or no? It shouldn't have to look like that. What do you think the government did wrong? Or is that what happens to every single building? Because personally, I would not want to live there. I would not want to live there, and especially when we're comparing it to this. Sorry, the picture's just loading. Okay, especially when we're comparing it to this. Let me just find outside. These are all these are expensive facilities. They look like they're well kept, but this is just a couple of years later. This is what it ended up looking like. You can even see outside that there's probably an issue with service delivery, maybe. I'm not sure why they're throwing stuff onto the street, but it's just very deplorable conditions. Very deplorable conditions. Okay, so what do you guys think? If we're comparing the two images, sorry, if we're comparing this to this, what do you guys think? Because Sophie's shaking
I
her
want to
head.
live in Tokyo.
Sorry, Chloe?
I want to live in Tokyo.
Okay, you want to live in Tokyo, but remember, this could be Tokyo in a few years.
Really?
This could be Tokyo in a few years. Sophie, you were shaking your head. What do you think?
No, definitely not. I rather choose better place than such place like that. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's an undurable condition.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
it is like a lot of Olympic athletes living here. I do not. I don't want
No,
to live such durable.
to live
I
there.
can find it
Okay.
better than that.
Okay. Weston, what do you got? What do you think of this building? Would you live here?
No, I think it's too messy that if I go in, there may be many things that are dirty that from the last user.
Okay, it's too dirty. So, by the way, this was from, let me see if I can find a picture of how it looked. Excuse me. Turin Olympic Village. Okay, so everyone's during the Olympics. Let me see if I can find a picture of what it looks like. It looked like. Yeah, I can't even find a picture of what it used to look like. Oh, okay, it looks like this is what it looked like. You can see the different flags. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is just a glimpse. We can see Italy. Okay, we can see a couple of flags there, and contrasted with, no, not this picture, with this picture. Okay, that's a big difference. Okay, that's a big difference. Look at how clean it is, Winston. You said it was messy. It wasn't always messy. Okay, I think, Sophie, would you live here? Okay, that was a very firm yes. Chloe, would you live here?
Are they the
still a
same
no?
place?
Yes, yes. This is what it used to look like. It's the exact same place. Okay, this was during the Olympics. Okay, this is what it looks like now. Okay, we can see some graffiti. Okay, and of course, they're hanging clothes outside. Okay, but this is what they used to look like, well, during the Olympics. Okay, beautiful solid colors, good infrastructure. So this is what happens when the Olympics leave after a couple of years. the government has a big problem. They don't know what to do. So how can we help Tokyo avoid this? Can they avoid it? Or are they doomed? Okay, are they doomed? It's going to happen. They can't prevent it. Okay, what do you guys think? Can we prevent this? Yes, no, Sophie? Oh, Chloe, what do you
I
think?
think they will. I think Japanese, they have many good ideas. So I believe they can make the village to a new how to say, a new spot, a new tourist attraction.
Okay. Okay, maybe it can be a tourist attraction. Sophie, what do you think? Can Japan prevent this from happening? Or Tokyo?
Actually, I have no idea because I don't know. It is so difficult to predict things. And obviously, I think like Japanese, they really care about clean. So I believe that the Olympic Village will always be clean, at least be clean. But I have no idea what will be just after a couple years.
That's a very good point. Okay, so they're a very clean country. They'll always try to keep the area clean. It's a good point. Okay, Chloe, you were saying the exact same thing. It's a good point. Weston, what do you think? Can Japan prevent this from happening? What do you think?
Yes, there may be some way to control it well. Just
what about
like to have some room for the people to live there, then they may be
Okay. Very interesting. We're going to watch the last video, which is a bit different from what we've been talking about. Okay, let me just set it back.
Story of our best athletes.
Sorry about that. Okay, let me just switch off my live transcript. Okay, so we're going to watch the last video, which is a bit different from what I've been talking about. There.
The Olympics. The glory of our best athletes competing for greatness in shiny new stadiums for viewers around the world. But recent games are rife with overspending, waste, and controversy. And most viewers don't even see the lasting damage the games do to the host city. Could we be watching the death of the Olympics? Well, right now, it's hard to tell, but this honored tradition is looking sicker every year. Hosting is expensive. Every game in the last 50 years has gone over budget. The 2014 Sochi Winter Games went over its $10 billion budget by an additional $41 billion. No one knows this better than Professor Andrew Zimbalist. He's written several books on the Olympics, including Rio 2016, Olympic Myths, Hard Realities.
These days, they require about 35 different athletic venues. They require an Olympic Village that costs $1.5, $2, $3 billion, depending on the circumstance. They require a media and television production facility, which could very easily go for $500 million to $1 billion. They require a media village. They require ceremonial space and green space. They require transportation amongst all of and special lanes for the IOC executives, transportation amongst all of the venues.
Cities used to make a profit from the games, partly because they collected a lot of revenue in TV rights. But recently, the International Olympic Committee has been taking larger percentages. In the 90s, for instance, it took 4% of revenue. Compare that with the 70% it pocketed from the 2016 Rio Games. The newly built stadia can cost up to $30 million a year to maintain, and they're often on valuable real estate. Most cities don't even know what to use them for after the games. Those facilities fall into decay if they're not kept up, and that hurts property value.
There could also be a lot of environmental disruption. The Winter Olympics they'll be having in Pyeongchang, they destroyed a whole mountainside, trees and animals that are rare and some of them close to extinction.
So, who would want to host the Olympics in the first place? Not many. After each financial failure, fewer cities bid to host the following decade's games. After all, it takes 10 years of planning just to be in the running to host. Chicago spent an estimated $100 million on the campaign to host in 2016, and they lost. Boston famously pulled its bid for the 2024 Summer Games after citizen group No Boston Olympics convinced the city otherwise. 12 cities bid for the 2004 Games, 5 for 2020, and just 2 tried for the 2022 Winter Games, China and Kazakhstan. So is that it? RIP Olympic Games?
Oh, no, it won't end. Thomas Bach, the president of the IOC, for all the criticisms that I have of him, he's a smart guy, and he knows when he's up against the wall, and they've been up against the wall.
In 2014, IOC President Thomas Bach suggested a list of 40 actions the IOC could take to shape the future of the Olympic movement. Among them, evaluate bid cities by assessing key opportunities and risks, reduce the cost of bidding, and include sustainability in all aspects of the Olympic Games. It sounds good on paper, but time will tell if these actions take root.
We're going to become more sustainable, we're going to become more affordable, we're going to become more flexible. And by doing that, by tweaking the model a little bit, making pronouncements, they re-engage cities to participate. And what's generally happened is the model has been slightly reformed. It's a little bit more sensible now than it was before Agenda 2020.
Zimbalist supports a different idea to keep the Olympics alive. Get rid of the bidding system and pick a permanent host, somewhere that has the built-in facilities, infrastructure, and venues.
We happen to have such a city for the Summer Olympics. It's Los Angeles. They don't have to do any building virtually. They've got the infrastructure, transportation infrastructure, because it's the second largest city and the entertainment capital of the country. They've got all of the professional teams from all the leagues.
A permanent city could benefit the Winter Games as well. As the climate changes, less cities that have hosted Winter Games in the past can reliably keep snow. The IOC isn't a fan of this idea, but as bidding hosts dwindle, so do their options. The future Summer Games are planned out through 2028, and the Winter Games through 2022. The 2026 Olympics have several cities exploring bids, including 2 previous hosts, Salt Lake City and Sapporo, Japan. Germany, Australia, and India have all expressed interest in the 2032 Summer Games. Despite its flaws, the Olympic Games is still a people pleaser. The IOC polled candidate host cities for the 2020 Games, and 70% of Tokyo, 76% of Madrid, and 83% of Istanbul were in support. So maybe the Olympics aren't dying, but it's certainly up to the International Olympic Committee to keep the Games in check, both on the field and off.
Okay, so apparently the Olympics are not dead yet. So that's a good thing. What did you guys think of that video? Is it realistic to have only one country hosting or one city hosting? What do you think? Just one city forever and ever? Sophie, what do you think? Or Weston, what do you think?
Yeah, I have a little bit of extra. I'm just concerned about that because of the profits that Olympic and I mean you can get profit when you just Olympic so it may be a little bit unfair, but a little bit if you just hold on one always, maybe it will be.
Okay, so maybe we'll get better. Okay. Weston, what do you think?
I think I think if there's some way to let it to be affordable and not too much cost, I think there were still many countries is pleasure to have to host the game.
Yeah, so a lot of countries or cities still want to host. Chloe, what do you think? Okay, is there a solution? Maybe one city hosting or just decrease the cost?
think the city host Olympics will attract many tourism incomes, and I think Olympics is a history. Is a historical games, so it will be always there. I think it will not be disappeared.
Okay, it won't disappear. Okay, can you imagine a world without the Olympics? Can you imagine
other events? Then there may be other events to replace the sports game.
Okay, but are they the Olympics? You see, we already have other events. We have summer games. We also have national games in the different countries. But do we have a sport or an event that unifies us all? Because all countries can participate in the Olympics. Okay, so do we have something that unifies us? Okay, that unifies us all. Because I was watching the Olympics and I was rooting for other countries. I watched when my country wasn't participating. I was excited to just watch. I was excited to just watch. So can you imagine? You see, the thing for me is when the Olympics are not happening, I don't care. I don't care if someone's training. I'm not concerned. But when they are happening, I want to see what's going on. I want to see who's running fast. I want to see who's breaking world records. Doesn't matter if they're from my country or not. So can you imagine a world without the Olympics? Anyone? Sophie, can you imagine a world without the Olympics?
Actually, I did pay a lot of attention to Olympics. So maybe in my word, I can imagine how's the life if Olympic is.
Okay. Chloe, can you imagine a world without the Olympics?
I think if we don't have Olympics in the world, another way I said if we still have Olympics and we will get more love to our country.
Okay, that's a good point. Okay, give love to your country. What's then a world without the Olympics? Yay or nay? Okay, yes or no? Is that possible? Can you imagine a world without the Olympics?
Yes, it may be a bit more boring.
Yes?
Or it may be a bit more boring, although it's just once every 2 or 4 years.
Okay. Let's look at how old they are. Okay, so from 776 BC through to 393 AD. Okay, so it's a very long time. Okay, it's a very big tradition to break. Okay, guys, so we're done for this session. I had a lovely conversation with you guys. Winston and Chloe, you missed the beginning of the conversation when we were talking about horror stories and being petrified and superstitious stories. It was terrible for me. So we spoke a little about just creepy things that have happened, supernatural things that we can't explain. So I'm definitely going to have that in my mind. Anything you guys want to ask me? Are we all good? Okay, that's great. Chloe, perfect. Chloe,
thank you.
Okay, Chloe, Winston, and Sophie, maybe 20-30 years from now, we'll be talking about how much money the Olympics are making, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. No. I hope you guys are right about the Tokyo Village. I really hope so. Okay, guys, I hope you have a beautiful week. Hopefully I'll see you next week. Winston, I hope you feel better. I was under the weather last week, so I understand. I hate having a cold. Okay, take care, guys.
Take care.
Okay. Bye, Sophie.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.